going to be Catholics fleeing Protestants, because it would be Protestants fleeing from Anglican. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, my bad. It may as well have been a different religion. It may as well, Catholicism to the Protestant may as well have been Islam. So it does matter that our nation had a separation of church and state and was secular.
Yeah, but
it did. But it absolutely did.
But I demonstrated to you multiple times it didn't. All you have been able to do is give post hoc justification. After the Constitution was ratified, we already had states that had state religions, and you claim that they could make laws and discriminate based on those state religions, and that was perfectly acceptable, but somehow this was a secular nation. That literally makes no sense. That's like me saying my nation is secular, but all the people who live in it are religious. Each state has their own religion.
What was our federal religion? What was the federal religion?
There doesn't need to be a federal religion.
Then there's
it was a perspective right given to the states.
It's
no,
secular.
the federal. Listen, you dimwit. The Constitution of the United States was designed specifically to say what the federal government could not do. Or, I'm sorry, what they could do, not what they could not do. They were not allowed to make any type of prescriptive claim on religion at the federal level as a compromise to the states. The states were. And you can't say you have a secular nation if each one of your states can ratify its own fucking religion, make it the state religion, and then bar people from entry based on that state religion. That's the opposite of a secular state.
So the federal government not being able to enforce spiritual matters or religious matters in the states, you think that is not secular?
All it does is pass the buck to the states to enforce those things, which they did, and
to
they
make their
enforced
own
the
decisions
religion
and to choose which religion they would like to have as their state religion or to not have one.
Okay,
so what I'm saying is that were the states, did they all choose the same denomination? Did they pick the same denomination? Did they pick the same denomination?
I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to close my eyes.
You're popping out because you're talking over.
I am going to create my perfect secular nation. What does that look like, Andrew? It means that I'm not going to make any prescriptions about religion, but I'm going to let each individual province inside of my nation do that, and they can totally discriminate based on their religions because this is a secular nation. Does that sound right to you, or does that sound fucking, I don't know, retarded?
Oh, I mean, that's the definition of a secular nation. They gave states the decision. They allowed states to.
That's what a secular nation is to you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then if
they
all
gave
secular...
the United States gave
So a secular nation to you is I can create in my state the Orthodox religion and then discriminate based upon it. That's a secular nation to you.
Yeah, the federal government can't stop you from doing that.
Great. So you have no problem with individual states creating an Orthodox only, no LGBTQ allowed, make prescriptions based on their religion in their state, right? No issues with that because it's a secular nation.
I don't think we're allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Again, like what I'm saying is that yes, the federal government was founded on secularism.
No, it wasn't.
They have to leave you alone. They have to let you stop worship. They can't stop you from worshiping.
Which of our founders were secularists, do you think?
They were all personally Christian.
Okay, so I'm sorry. This is super weird to me. We were founded as a secular nation where each one of the states had their own religion, which was ratified and recognized by the federal government, and they could discriminate based on the policies of that religion in the province of that state, and that to you is a secular nation. So right now, if it was the case that we had a nation where you had states inside of it that were all Orthodox and discriminated based on the orthodoxy, that to you is a secular nation, right?
Yes, if the federal government is not enforcing a specific religion.
Great, then I want more secular nations. I want more.
We also can't, because the First Amendment has two provisions concerning religion: the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. Government Clause prohibits the government from establishing religion.
They can't establish
historically, it meant prohibiting state-sponsored churches such as the Church of England.
Right. So the whole nation
Today,
couldn't
what
have the Church of
constitutes an
England.
establishment of religion is often governed under the three-part test set forth by the U.S. Supreme Court in Lemon versus Kurtzman. Under the Lemon test, government can assist religion only if 1, the primary purpose of the assistance is secular, the assistance must neither promote nor inhibit religion, and 3, there is no excessive entanglement between church and state. So, again, I do not believe that we can establish state religions, even if the original colonies had them and the first states.
But we're not arguing. Hang on, we're not arguing right now if you can or can't in modernity establish religions inside the states. That's a totally different claim than this. Andrew, we were established as a secular nation. And what made us a secular nation was that the federal government couldn't make a national religion, but rather each state could make their own religion and then discriminate and do what they wanted based on their religious practices and beliefs, including not letting you hold office if you weren't a part of that religion. If that to you is a secular state, then I completely concede and want all states to be secular. I want exactly that, because man, what a great thing that was for religion. If that's what a secular state is from Charlie's point of view, then that's what Andrew Wilson wants more of.
More
secular states.
I do think that yes, federally, nations not enforcing a national religion is a positive thing. That's what it is.
That's not what you said. You didn't say it was positive.
Secular state. We have a secular state.
Okay, a secular
state.
We
have had a secular state. Do you deny?
Yes, I deny.
Do you deny that the U.S. government, in its inception, do you holy fuck? Let me phrase this correctly.
Okay.
It is a fact, correct, that the United States government, in its inception, decided to not enforce any religion nationally.
No. What happened is that the federal government said that under the 10th Amendment, the states could adopt their religion. And by the way, the federal government couldn't do shit about that. And that each individual state could discriminate, including who could hold office based on those religions.
They could not federally enforce.
Yeah, that's just a separation of powers.
Yeah,
like saying
that is oh my god, like a separation of church and state.
It's not
crazy,
a separation of church and
That's
state.
A separation of church and state.
States have churches. The states have churches.
Clear this up really quick.
A separation of power is not the same as a separation of church and state, nitwit. You can't say I have a secular state where everybody inside of it can make policy based on their religion. That's not a secular state.
That they all choose on their own. The federal government is not enforcing.
Maybe this will help. So it was the 14th Amendment came about for, from what I'm understanding and reading, based on slavery.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with any of this.
Right. However, it wasn't until the court case Cantwell v. Connecticut in 1940 that was the key case that interpreted the 14th Amendment to make the First Amendment's free exercise clause applicable to state law. So it wasn't until 1940 that even applied to the states, where the states could not infringe upon people's rights to practice their own religion.
This still does not change the fact that the federal government of the United States,
well, yes, it
never nationally enforced a religion.
And let me clarify. You have to have it happening for them to have a case to go against it. The fact that
the U.S. government has never federally enforced a national religion. So there's a difference between state governments. There's there's state governments and federal governments.
Oh, right. But we are we are the United States of America, right? We have a federal representation that we kind of feed into, that it's federalism at its finest, right? So federal government just kind of oversees and makes sure we're all getting along and playing well. But essentially, we're all individual states with our own little bubbles in our own little world. We can make laws that, I can make a law in Maryland that says you can't smoke until you're 35. You can't buy cigarettes until you're 35. And the federal government can't come in and be like, no, you can't do that. Yes, I can, because we think that's best for our state. However,
precisely. So the federal government has never been allowed to federally enforce or create a religion.
Yeah. Do you understand though that
they have never forced, the federal government cannot
Okay, we're going to have the neighborhood.
Cannot
got
nationally enforce a religion.
Got it.
States
So
can do what they
we're
want,
gonna we're
but
gonna
the
take.
federal government cannot.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
We now are going to implement the United States of Charlie. And the United States of Charlie is just the name we give a neighborhood that Charlie establishes. Okay, that you establish. It's just a neighborhood. Here's the rules of the neighborhood. Charlie establishes it, right? And Charlie has control, right? A lot of control of this neighborhood. As part of your starting charter, you say, I will not in any way, shape, or form infringe on any of you guys having religion inside of any of your households. And everybody who comes in there to live happens to be highly religious and establishes inside of each of their households religious doctrines which are exclusionary to LGBTQ people and all sorts of things with association. You are living in a secular neighborhood, right?
Because I am not enforcing a religion onto the neighborhood, and I'm not basing my laws.
So it's a secular
religion.
That's a secular neighborhood.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I, based on this definition of secularism, want a lot fucking more of it. As much of it as we can possibly get.
Well,
I want everybody to be secularist.
We have a separation of church and state. So
hey,
I think,
Charlie, I want more Charlie neighborhoods where the secularists found it, the hyper religious come in, they make all sorts of discriminatory policy, and you just fucking sit there and take it. I want more of that.